Welcome to another episode of Our Community. This is Alfredo Diamond, and I'm here with a very special guest, Doug Macias.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Originally from the St. Louis area, southern Illinois, a little town called Alton, Illinois.
And what was it like growing up there?
I see a lot of similarities with Alton and Richmond. We were right on the Mississippi River, so right next to the rails as well. So we had a lot of manufacturing as Richmond did as well. Not that we still don't here, but very similar layouts. Seeing how we were thriving and booming at one time, and then we lost a lot of it, like a lot of places have. Mm-hmm. So trying to rebuild, but small town, very similar to Richmond. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody knows each other's parents and grandparents, a lot of the local restaurants and things like that. So a lot of similarities.
What brought you to our community?
Oh boy. So, I met some individuals at NATCO Credit Union 20 plus years ago. Okay. My mom ran a small credit union in Southern Illinois. I worked for her, and NATCO and my mom's credit union used the same data processor. So we met at a users conference 20 years ago. We stayed in touch. NATCO was actually a client of mine at one point in time, and I was offered a job in the Indianapolis area. And I remember picking up the phone and calling NATCO and saying, hey, what do you think? So they actually helped me make the move out to Indianapolis. I was out there for about 10 years. And then when I was actually living down in Greenfield, I was talking to Cindy, the CEO at NATCO. And I said, you know what? I think I'm actually living closer to Richmond now than Indy. And that's when the wheels really started spinning. She called me one day saying, hey, I think I've got something for you where I can bring you in. Mm-hmm. It was a no-brainer. It made sense. I moved out here in March of 21, and then moved my mom out here shortly behind that.
So you've been here, what, about 2-3 years now?
2.5 years.
2.5 years? Okay. And so what'd you do after high school? Did you go right in the workforce? Did you go to college? Tell me a little bit about that.
I went right into work during high school. I remember mom and dad saying, if you want a car, you got to go get a job. And I liked making money, and I liked working hard right away. So I did some school, some local college, but we just didn't get along that great. Mm-hmm. Sitting in the classroom just wasn't my thing. It was out there working.
Right. Sounds a lot like me. I was fortunate to go to college and spend some time doing that, but even with that, I pretty much worked and went to school the entire time. Yeah. So with local business, education, employment, and business development in mind, which you're so involved within the community, like you've got your own Doug's Day Out with the chamber, and I thought that was so cool. I was able to attend a little bit of that. So how'd that happen? Like, how'd they come up with that?
You know what? I don't know. I remember when I first moved here, Melissa Vance and Lynette Davis at the chamber, they set a meeting to sit down with me. And I just followed my predecessor's footsteps and stepped into the ACES committee role, and just saw more and more benefit from being connected to the chamber and then helping me make more connections across the community. So I still serve on a couple chamber committees, and I'm the chairman of the Buy Local committee, and once a month we try to do our pop-ins and support local businesses and spread the word about what they're doing. And my birthday's at the end of July, and I think it's the last week of the month when we try to do these pop-ins. And if anybody knows me, I like to eat. Yeah. I like to eat.
And you love Lulu's, right?
I love some Lulu's. And then it just turned into Doug's Day Out, and it was a great day. I think we ended up hitting 4 or 5 probably local businesses that day. So
yeah, I tried to be. I think I joined you guys for Roscoe's, I think. Yep, good seeing everybody. So let me backtrack a second. So I was asking you, local business, education, and business development in mind. Where would you like to see our community in the next 5 years?
Boy, that's a tough question because we've got a lot of challenges in all of those different buckets. But I also think that we're doing a lot of things right. I think we're doing a lot of things better. I think we've got a lot of good momentum right now. So I think it's really just continuing to do what we're doing, and how do we do it better and not get stuck in the pointing fingers at people, places, and things, and saying it's everybody else's responsibility. We've all got a responsibility, and I'm saying that when I'm not even from here. But we've all got to work together better. Instead of focusing on the past and the negatives and what's not working, I think it's more continued collaboration.
I agree. And the fact that you've been here 2.5 years and you're so involved and so passionate about where you live and making things better. I know we talk regularly, I feel like, and you share some great ideas and passionate about, we talk about housing and how can we improve that. We talk about personal development and teaching people finances with the NATCO Empowerment Center and things like that, which you've had me do a couple projects with. So what project or what idea are you working on now that I know it's something incredible? Can you share?
I don't know if I thought about these questions before I came in, and it's hard to come up with some of those answers because I would say we as a community are doing so much. Over at the Empowerment Center, we're trying to do a lot, and we do a lot. At the Empowerment Center, our mission is people helping people and helping people live better lives by whatever they want their life to be better. It's not our job to sit on one side of the desk and say, here's what you need to do. Right. Here's what we think you need to do. Support them because what I want and what my definition of happiness is different from yours. And we do that through the 4 steps of empowerment: connections to resources, job seeking assistance, money management counseling, and then a list of classes, trainings, and workshops that we provide. So when you look at those 4 buckets, those speak to how many of the issues that we have going on here in Richmond. So connections to resources, that's something that we do have. I think a lot of people think that they can't get out of the situation that they're in. And
they don't know awareness.
And they don't know. So it's helping, hopefully, and we do. We have a lot of relationships in the community, and hopefully we can help connect them to that resource that they're looking for. Jobs. I mean, we talk about it and we see it and we all feel it every single day. And then money management. I'm not going to sit here and try to act like an economist or a professional because we hear about it all the time when it comes to inflation and the price of housing and the price of gas and the price of food, everything. We're all feeling it, and it doesn't sound like we feel like things are going to get better anytime soon. They may very well get harder for a lot of us.
That's true. That's a good perspective. Doug, I ask everybody this question. What's one thing about our community that you'd like to see come back? You've been here 2.5 years, so if there's something that's gone in that 2.5 years, please elaborate on it. But if there's something extending that, what is one thing that you think that we need?
Another good question. Like you said, I've only been here for 2.5 years, so a lot of the common things that I hear are the promenade, or the Rose City, and things like that. What do we need? I remember, I think it was last year when I was at a Kiwanis meeting, and I was talking to Chief Britt, because it's easy for all of us to list off all the problems that we think that we have and that we see. And it's easy to look at data and number and statistics about what's not right and what is wrong. And I asked the chief what he thought was the number one problem and the number one thing that we needed to do to change. And he said, our mindset. And I can still get behind that, because what I do see in a lot of people here that have been there their whole life is there's still that Richmond pride. So I think that's what we need more of. I've seen a lot of it, and I've seen enough of it to make me want to stay and make me want to try to help do better. Because when I moved here from the Indianapolis area, people are going, "You're going to work in Richmond? Now you're going to live in Richmond? Are you going to stay, and why?" We've got some real problems here.
Yeah.
But who doesn't?
Right, everywhere. Yeah.
But it's what I see and hear from the people that have been here through the good and the bad and the ugly. I think we're moving the right way. We need to keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to go to a segment I've got. It's going to be interesting here, with you being here 2.5 years, Doug, and but the Rose City, hot and ready, or cold and steady. So I'm going to just run through a few items, and you just tell me what comes to mind.
Yes, sir.
Sound fun?
Yep.
All right, bro. All right. So, favorite park?
That's a tough one. We do have a lot of good parks. Denise and our parks department do a great job on keeping up with things. COVID really exposed. I mean, COVID pushed a lot of people outside to our parks, and maintaining and improving and keeping our parks safe is a lot of work. So kudos to Denise and our parks department. I'm going to land on Glenn Miller. Very easily accessible. It's huge.
It's huge.
And there's a list of how many things to do out there.
Yeah.
And you've got the Rose Garden right there as well. So Glenn Miller is an easy one for me to go to.
Okay. I think I know the answer to this, but Roscoe's or Starbucks?
Roscoe's, they know. You know.
Pizza place?
Ooh, Mercurio's.
Okay. All right. Ice cream?
Everybody knows Ulri's.
Gallows or Old Richmond Inn?
I know it's a question, but I want to say both. It depends.
Yeah.
I mean, lunch, I seem to go to ORI more. Last night we did dinner on the patio out at Gallows. I mean, you've got a great view at Gallows. But any of the Gallows establishments do a great job. And they support the community too. That's what's big when I look at where do I go is local.
Yeah.
I try to support the small and local as much as possible.
Place for a first date?
Ooh, the front window at Cordial. Just kidding. I mean, you've got the Cordial Cork. You've got the Cordial Cork. We've got Old Richmond Inn. We've got Gallo. You've got the Rose Garden. We have a lot of options. And there's a lot of good scenery here too. Like I love to go up to the city building at night. People probably wonder why I go up there and sit a lot.
It's cool.
But I mean, we have some great scenic views for the sunset around here. So you can walk around the Depot District. You can walk around Main Street and downtown. So it's really just getting out and seeing and experiencing our city.
I think I might not answer this, but you've asked me to go bowling too. But so golf or bowling?
Golf.
All right. So you're so involved. You probably got one. So Earlham, Ivy Tech, or IU East?
See, that's another one I can't give you a direct answer to. That's like saying Hoosiers or Purdue, because people are going to be listening to this. I want to say all the above. I mean, that's another thing when we say what does Richmond have to offer. When you look at, we have Earlham, Ivy Tech, and IU East here, and they all do great things.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the things that you hear people in Richmond talk about is the pride that they have in going to Earlham and those other universities. So very just grateful that all three of them are here. They do what they do, and they help support the community as much as they do.
Yeah. So could you share a memorable moment or experience from your involvement in the community?
Another great question, and we could spend a lot of time just on this.
Sure,
one.
there's several.
But the one that really stuck out to me is related to Sierra, Officer Burton. The evening that they put her cruiser in front of the city building, I had just moved up here to Main Street, and I decided to walk down there, and there was a good amount of people that were coming and going, and there was a few of us that went up there and were hanging out for a while, and they had the board set up to attach a ribbon to. And somebody came up, and there was no more ribbons. So me and my buddy Mark Broker, we started getting on our phones and texting and calling people. It's 10 o'clock at night. Where can we get some ribbon at? And Monica Coachline ended up bringing some more ribbon up. And we're sitting there cutting ribbons, and the next car that pulled off was a fireman that just got off duty. So that was the light bulb inside my head that said, we got to make sure that there's ribbon here, something as small as that.
Yeah. So
we went back the next night, and people were bringing up candles, but the candles weren't staying lit. So somebody said, we need to do some luminary bags. So somebody went and got bags, and Roxy Deer, she said, you know what, we need some markers in case kids want to write on there. Mm-hmm. And then what we saw start to happen, you'd see families come up and sit down and make bags with their family, and kids sit down. You'd see grown men come up and hit a knee, and they'd be in tears. Oh, and what I saw was a community that was hurting. You saw a community that was also hungry for change, hungry for healing. So something beautiful came out of something so tragic. And that was one of those moments for me that drives me to do what I do here in Richmond and beyond. It's why I got this blue ring on today. It's Friday, right? I wake up and I can very easily want to be lazy and selfish and complain about Cadillac problems. Mm-hmm. But that's why I put the ring on this morning, to remember what it's about and why we need to get up and go out and do what we do every day. Yeah. A lot of us have the luxury of going to Roscoe's every morning and spending that $5 to $7 on a cup of really good coffee. But there's a lot of people out there that don't. There's a lot of people out there that need us to do more for them. Wow.
I mean, you're such a good dude.
Thank you. You too.
I can go on about that, man. You know how I feel about you. But so as involved as you are, what advice would you give someone who wants to get more involved in the local community efforts, but may not know where to start?
I'm a very frank, blunt person sometimes. Mm-hmm. Get out. Yeah. Get out. Yeah. I mean,
opportunities are there.
We live in a world where we're know-it-alls. And what I mean by that is, if we don't have an answer to something, we all go to our phones, right? Yeah. We go to Google and find out the answers. We need to get out. I mean, for me, it was the Chamber of Commerce. It was getting involved with Kiwanis. I'm on the Girls Inc. board now. I'm on Birth to Five's board. I'm on Safety Village's board. So it's really getting out and showing up for things. Yeah. And the way that kind of I approached it, with me being a community development manager, I can easily sit at my desk and do emails and look at reports and data and statistics and this and that. But I feel like I need to be out developing and managing relationships in the community. To see what we need to be doing, I need to be seeing it, hearing it, and feeling it. So I think it's really just getting out, but also finding out what's important to you. Mm-hmm. What's important to you? What makes you mad? What do you not like what's going on here in Richmond or the world? Mm-hmm. And get out there and connect it to it. Whether it's your church, there's how many youth serving organizations. It's really just getting out of your comfort zone. Yeah. I mean, for me, a lot of times it's doing the things that I don't want to do, but they need to be done because it's the right thing to do. Right. So I don't know if that's a very clear answer, but it's just getting out.
Yeah. Yeah. Doug, if you can collaborate with someone on a project that you haven't collaborated with, what would the project be and who would be the person?
Obviously, I'm not good on giving clear-cut answers because I thought about this one too. I don't know. I feel like I know a lot of people here in Richmond. I'm very grateful for the amount of people that have given me their time over the past 2.5 years. I try to connect and network with as many people as possible. There's probably a lot of people out there that people, places, and things that I still don't know, that I want to know, that I need to know. But honestly, I want to connect and try to collaborate with as many people as I possibly can. There's a lot of times where I'll get up and I'm out the door at 7 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I don't get home until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, because that's what I'm out there doing is connecting and networking with people. But beyond that, serving. Yeah. So I want to try to connect with as many people as possible. But at the same time, I think part of that is a big part of where my passion lies is in the recovery network. I mean, I got sober about 6.5 years ago. Those are some of the issues that we have right here on Main Street. I live on Main Street. We have an office on Main Street. I see it on Main Street, morning, noon, and night. People walking up and down that need that help. So,
what's, you don't touch much on it, but what if you can give someone some words of encouragement right now that may be looking for some answers? What would you say to that person in regards?
I would say be willing to accept somebody's suggestion. Be willing to say yes. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it was for me. I would say, I mean, that's another thing that we do have here in Richmond is if you're struggling with alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, there's lots of help out here. There's lots of help. There's lots of solutions. I mean, you've got the 228 Club. You've got Recovery Rocks. You've got Brianna's Hope. You've got Recovery Church. I mean, then you've got the Meridians and Centerstones. And there's a lot of people out here in Richmond that want to help with whatever you're struggling with. Mm-hmm. But I think at the same time, the hardest thing for anybody to do is say, I got a problem. They've got to realize they got a problem first. And then the hardest thing to do is say, hey, me, being a man, mm-hmm. our ego sometimes, our pride, hey, Al, I'm struggling. Mm-hmm. I need help. Mm-hmm. And then once you have surrendered and admitted that to yourself and somebody else, where do you go?
Right.
So it's not easy. It is hard. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think that's where we, as a community, have to do a better job of meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
Like we see people every single day, but how many of us mm-hmm. don't see them? We drive right by them. And what I try to remember is that person, it's somebody's daughter, it's somebody's son, it's somebody's it's somebody's parent, right?
Yeah.
So I think we have to do a better job of helping people more.
Wow. Final question. Fun question. If you can give our community a grade, A through F, what letter grade would you give us?
Thought about that one too. I'm going to go with a solid B, if not a B plus, because I don't want to say C. We're not average. The things that a lot of people are a part of, the work that we're doing, it's not average. It's not average. And a lot of the people that are trying to be part of the solutions, they're just not putting in 8 hours a day. They're waking up early. They're working through their lunch hours. They're staying late. A lot of us are doing whatever it takes to hopefully make things a little bit better.
Man. Well, you're certainly inspiring to me and a lot of others. You're everywhere. Keep doing what you're doing, bro.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you for being my friend, and thank you for being here today with me. I really appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time.